Morning, guys. One of the things that I've been able to have success with is in understanding the idea that you can crack the code of your mind. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that right now you have a certain amount of positive and negative thoughts in your mind. And you may be responding to more negative thoughts and actually allowing those things to get acted out. You have the power and ability to slowly, day by day, choice by choice, replace a negative thought with a positive thought and respond to positive thoughts. In other words, ignore negative thoughts. But there's a certain baseline you're at right now. So you may be more responsive to negative thoughts right now. And it may be mostly that. But you can actually figure out and be aware, as a human being, you can be aware of that, and you can crack that code and develop a new one. I hope this helps everyone. Have a great day. Morning, guys. One of the things
I have been making espresso videos for 7 years now, and I thought it would be fun to look back on the first 7 espressos that I've made over the next 7 days, so you can enjoy, maybe have a few laughs, and hopefully also get inspired. Here we go. So today, let's look at the third espresso I ever made on John Paul DeJoria. If you have a fear of rejection in your business, I'm going to share with you an inspiring clip from John Paul DeJoria that I think will help you.
You're going to run across a lot of rejection. I say this time in and time out. Be prepared for the rejection, no matter how bad it is. Don't let it overcome you or influence you. Keep on going towards what you want to do, no matter what. No matter whether your bills are paid, not paid, someone says no 1,000 times. Again, go back to be as enthusiastic on door number 100 as you were on door number 1. But believe in yourself. And it's really all about knowing you have a great service or a great product that'll put you in the reorder business. So you're never selling, you're trying to get it in someone's hands, whether it's a service or a product, knowing it's so darn good that they're going to want to order it again or tell a friend about it to order. And that's the real secret there.
So my quick take on this is you're going to get rejection in anything that you do, right? Any new thing that you're trying to do, you're going to get a lot of rejection in. If you try to learn how to snowboard, you're going to fall down, right? That's your rejection. If you try to learn piano, you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to sit there and just instantly become Mozart. You're going to make mistakes and get rejection over and over and over again, and it's no different in business. When you first start your company, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, right? You're going to have the wrong product, the wrong service, the wrong pricing, the wrong target audience, the wrong sales pitch, the wrong media pitch. You're going to make mistakes everywhere, and that's going to lead to rejection. And the key is using that rejection as fuel to learn from and improve. Improve your processes, improve your product, improve your systems, improve your marketing, improve your pitch, improve everything, right? That rejection, don't use it as a jailer. Don't use it as something that you say, oh, I'm never gonna make it because I've made all these mistakes and nobody wants it. Take the feedback and make a change to how you operate. You have to understand that rejection is normal. Rejection isn't failure. Going out and being rejected by a client who doesn't like your idea, that's going to be normal at the start. It's okay. Everybody goes through it. Don't take that personally and put it on yourself and feel like because somebody said no to me that I am personally a failure myself. Use every rejection that you get to improve yourself and your product and your business, and eventually you will achieve success. Thank you guys so much for watching. My question of the day for you is, I want to know how you've used rejection to move yourself and your business forward. Leave in the comments below. I'm curious myself to learn about your story, and I think it could be inspiring for the other people watching this video as well. So leave a comment below and tell me your story of rejection. And if you like this video and you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and the newsletter. Thank you so much for watching. Continue to believe, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning for another inspirational entrepreneurship shot to the arm to kickstart your day. If you want another amazing John Paul DeJoria video, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
One of the great secrets in life to becoming successful, whether it's in a business, whether it's working with someone or for someone or in your own personal life,
Morning, guys. As we live, laugh, and love our way to infinite mind wealth, one of the quotes that always helps me, and I hope this helps you, is Les Brown's. He uses it often in his speeches, and that is that whatever hard times come, whatever difficulties come, they have not come to stay. They have come to pass. And I know it's something that has been used by many of the wisest people, and we have to remember it because in a moment we can make it can seem like it's everything. All the negative things that are happening to us are never going to end. It's always going to be like that. But we have to remember that life is full of change and it's all passing, it's all flowing. And so we have to have that awareness and then understand that how we respond in that moment to that will allow us to gain strength from it if we choose to. So hopefully that helps you. It's helped me so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Things that you can do that are based on the kingdom system that will give you the success and the prosperity that you need in the midst of that crisis. A couple of things about crisis to write down. Number one, crisis is the incubator of creativity. Most of the time, we're not creative until something bad happens to us. When things fall apart, it makes us think outside the box. Secondly, crisis demands a new way of thinking about old problems. An old problem is you got to pay your mortgage. The problem is the source of income that you used to pay it with has been dried up. But the old problem hasn't gone away. You still got to pay your mortgage. So what you got to do now is find a new way to generate income to pay the old problem. So crisis actually forces you to think about new ways to solving old problems. Thirdly, crisis is an opportunity to improve and advance over old ideas. Sometimes the only way for you to move on is for something to happen to push you. And many times we don't grow until we have to. So crisis comes many times to improve us because we've been stuck in a place too long. And number five, crisis comes also to produce growth, and it also produces a sense of development. It makes you develop new approaches to life. Crisis creates new opportunities. It's amazing when we look at the world today, every progressive invention came out of a problem. And that's because crisis makes you develop and think in new ways. Number seven is very important. Crisis produces and manifests true leadership ability. No matter how much you would like to claim to be a leader, only crisis proves it. You are not really a leader in good times. Anybody can lead in good times. Leadership is tested and proven when there is a crisis environment. So crisis comes to test to see if you are as mature as you claim to be. Shakespeare said these words. I love it. He says, "Sweet are the uses of adversity." Say that with me. Sweet are the uses of adversity. That's a deep statement. In other words, he's telling us when things are adverse, when things are in crisis, don't panic, use them. Use them for the positive result. Everything that happens to you could be used to produce something good. That's amazing. Everything. So Shakespeare caught on to something. He realized in his own thinking that adversity can be used to benefit the one under the adversity. The richest man, one of the richest men in America, his name is John Huntsman. John Huntsman is the founder of one of the largest companies in the United States, and they produce about 90% of all the plastics, forks, and spoons that you use in your house or at your parties. This company is this is like the number one company in the world that produce plastic plates and plastic cups. This is the company here. It's owned by this man. His company fell into debt, and his company actually collapsed some years ago. And he went into a crisis mode, and he went to the bank. The bank said they ain't loaning no more money, and his company went into bankruptcy. He went home and told his wife, I quit. I'm never going to start this company again. I'm going to go find me a job. It's over. His wife said to him, honey, you told me that this idea was given to you by God and that you going to build this and make it successful. That's why I married you. I believe you. Now, if you're going to do this, go back and start again. He said his wife made him go back and ask another bank. He left the old bank. And he showed the bank the truth. He said, here's what I did in the last 15 years. Here's what happened. And I could start again. I know how to build a business. Will you trust me? And the bank says, I'll take a chance on you. He had no credibility, no assets, just a record that he built a company. The bank took a chance on him. And he began to start the company again. Today, the company is worth over $14 billion. He ran for the president of the United States during the time of Obama. If you remember this man's name, he's one of the candidates for the president of the United States. Billionaire. Here's what he said as a result of his crisis. I quote, if there is a silver lining to bad times, it is this: when facing severe challenges, your mind is normally at its sharpest. End quote. Now look at the statements in that statement. He said, when you are under the biggest pressure, that is when your mind is normally at its sharpest. Because your mind is having to think of things it never thought of before. See, the problem with humanity is we are creatures of habit. We have a habit of going to work. And all of a sudden you ain't got no work, you're still going to work. There are folks who get up, put their clothes on, forgot they got fired. And they drive past the place up and down, just looking at the place. Hey, you are fired, okay? Break the pattern. We got a pattern of being broke. So we even get money, we spend it just to make sure we are broke. It's a pattern. But crisis comes to break the pattern. Write this down. Crisis initiates new concepts. It also renews our vision. It cancels experience. This one is important. When a crisis comes, your experience becomes useless. This is why the most silent voices today are the economists. They are saying nothing right now. For the last 5 years, the economists have said nothing. They've made no recommendations. You know why? Every principle they ever taught them in school has been canceled. The economy that is now existing never existed before. They never saw a country become bankrupt. They never saw a failed government before. What do you do when nothing you learned is working? A crisis comes to cancel that. And this is why I think, I've been taught, like many of you, my parents were so nice. They said, children, go to school, get an education. And then they would say, experience is the best teacher. Well, that's not always true. Experience can be your worst enemy. Because if you got experience in doing something a certain way, and the environment changed, your experience becomes your enemy. Well, I never had to do this certain job before. Yeah, but you broke now. You better learn to do it. Well, I got a lot of experience in banking. Yeah, but ain't no bank hiring right now. You got to go work in the hotel. I got a lot of experience in hotel. Yeah, but hotels ain't hiring. You better go learn to be a gardener. Come on, don't look at me that way. See, your experience is destroyed by crisis. Sometimes we become so hooked on our experience, we wait until we find something that can use our experience, and nothing wants your experience. You have to almost retool yourself sometimes. You got to relearn things. You got to learn new skills. Why? Because life has a way of shaking things loose. There are people right now who are so proud they are starving. I can't get that job. That's below me. Oh, yeah? you better get that job. Take that job that's available. We're going to soon bury you below the ground if you don't get your act together and put your pride in your pocket. If a job opens, I'm telling them, I'm going to take it for a season.
I tell our young people, I say to you right now, stop looking for employment. Why don't you position yourself differently and look for deployment? To be employed means that somebody else is benefiting from your energy. To deploy yourself means that you are using your own energy to be productive. So instead of waiting for someone to give you a job, create your own work. That's why I tell people there's a difference between your work and your job. Your job is what they train you to do. Your work is what you were born to do. Your job is your skill, which they can fire you from at any time. But your work is your gift. No one can take that from you. Your job is where you get compensation for activity. Your work is where you get fulfillment because you love it so much. Your job you can retire from. Your work, you can never retire from your work because your work is you. So when a person discovers their work, they no longer need a job because their work makes them productive. So there are young people in this country who are full of talents, full of gifts. And I want to say this too. Every problem in life is a business. All businesses are simply someone solving a problem. So the more problems that are in Kenya, the more businesses available for young people to begin. And this is what I think we are lacking. We are trained to get a job. We're not trained to start a business. We are trained to let other people employ us, not trained to deploy ourselves. And this even happens in governments in our emerging countries. Most governments depend on external investors for survival of their countries. How about focusing on producing your own end products to sell to the investor? My perspective, for example, even in Kenya, Kenya has so much natural resources. The greatest resource in Kenya is the intelligence of its people. All the other natural resources are supposed to be complementing that natural resource of intelligence. I want to encourage this great country, Kenya, as you celebrate 50 years, to refocus your entire culture of development. And that is focus on not just providing natural resource material for the world, but how about providing end products for the world?
Power for me to be successful was not in the teachers, it was not in the educational system, it was not in my culture, it was not in my society, it was within me. And I began to think, God, if you are a good God, why am I poor? If you are a great God, why are these people better than me? If you make me in your image, why are they special and I'm a monkey? And that night, no thunder, no lightning, no earthquakes, nothing. I just heard a voice in my mind. And the voice said, I ask you to believe me and you will be saved, not them. And that night, I made a commitment to believe what God said. 13 years old, I said, okay, I believe that I have the power to experience far beyond all I can ever ask, think, or imagine. 13 years old. And that's when my pursuit of God began.
When was it that you realized you wanted to become a preacher?
You know, I didn't want to become a preacher. Matter of fact, today I still don't consider myself a preacher. I think it drove me to have a passion to help everybody who's been oppressed. My passion is to make sure that no one should live under what I experienced. I never desired to be a minister. I desired to help people.
Success is not what you've done compared to what other people have done. Sometimes we think success is a competition. Competition is a sign of insecurity. Successful people have no competition. If you study them, they're not interested in what you're doing at all. They're too committed to what they're doing. Successful people don't compare themselves to anyone. That leads to point number 2. Success is defined as what you've done compared to what you were created to do. In other words, success and failure is determined by how much you fall short of what the manufacturer designed you to perform. In other words, success is competition with yourself. Let me put it another way. If you knew that you could have done better, you are a failure. Think about it for a second. I remember one day when I came home from school, I was so excited. I got a B in class, and I ran home, told my mama, look at my exam, my test. Little kid, you know, I was excited. I got a B, and I got 75 on the test. And I was so excited. And my mother says, what are you so proud of? She said, I know you, boy. There's an A inside of you. Go back and go study again. Here I am, so excited with a B. She said, no, you an A kid. She was teaching me the lesson. She said, now you came first in the class with 75. You are still a failure. It simply means the other kids didn't try at all. So you can always find someone less than you. That doesn't make you a success.
Be fruitful. Okay, this is where business begins. The word fruitful in Hebrew means productive. It doesn't mean to have children. I was shocked when I discovered that. The first command God gave man was what? Be productive. In other words, produce something. Say it. Be productive. Stop saying fruitful because you're thinking about babies. Tell your neighbor, be productive. Be productive. No, say it this way. Produce something that I could buy. That's the first command. Now, here's something important to remember. The first command is to be what? Fruitful. The first command should have been be seedful, because fruit is a result of seed. You can't have fruit unless you have a seed that has a tree that bear fruit. God ignores the entire first step. Look at me, man, just get deep now. God said, look, I even ain't gonna talk about seed. Oh, you still ain't got it. Listen, when God demands something from you, it exists. So the demand for fruit is a presumption that there is seed somewhere. The number one reason why there's poverty in North Tulsa is not because of a lack of investors coming in, but a lack of productivity inside. Listen. Here's how you measure a nation's wealth. Listen carefully. A nation's wealth is measured by 3 letters, all nations. Gross national productivity. In other words, if the nation ain't producing, they call it poor in the UN. Money doesn't make you rich. Productivity does. That's why China is one of the biggest threats right now. Even though they may be poor, they are producing. What do most people in the North Tulsa do? Consume. You keep going to the bank to borrow money to buy stuff that isn't productive. I mean, if you're going to buy a vehicle, buy a truck so you can become one who collects garbage to produce a business. Don't buy a car to drive around in. That ain't productive. The command presumes that seed exists in you right now. There's a seed. That's your business. And God says, show me the fruit of it. Produce something. Now, when you produce a product, watch God's strategy now. Let's say, okay, Apple computer. Stephen Jobs quit school because he had an idea. Everybody say idea. That's your seed. Your seed is the idea that won't quit. This guy had an idea. He went to visit a plant to see a computer. And he went and he saw this computer, and the computer was big as half of this room. He looked at it, he says, why can't they reduce that to the size of a desk? And he walked out. And he kept seeing visions of that great massive computer the size of a room on a desk.
I wonder what you see that won't leave you alone. Write this down. Every problem is a business. I'm going to say it again. Every problem is a business. One man see bare feet, that's a problem. The other one see a shoe company, that's a business. One man see a hog island, that's a problem. Another man sees a resort, that's a business. Produce your seed, produce your fruit. And I want to focus on discovering
Everybody, today Gary Vaynerchuk shares with us his third rule for success, and that is put business in perspective. So we're in the business of developing ourselves. We're in the business of creating a mindset that will allow us to feel that freedom, peace, happiness in everything we do. And he gives us a strategy that helps him. And I also use the strategy to remind me when things get really tough. He says that he imagines that even if he lost money, even if he made a great amount of money, let's say on Bitcoin or something like that, he says to himself, if he lost a family member, someone died in his family, all of that would immediately vanish, all the benefits of having all that money. So it immediately grounds him. And so I challenge you to use the same thing. In a moment, when you're having your worst time at your business or whatever it is you're doing, just remember what's really important. Life is the really important thing. Have a great day, everyone.
You have to have the right peaceful energy to attract happy money. And unless you do that, you attract unhappy money. So if you just buy gold out of fear, that gold is a source of fear. Mm-hmm. So whenever you take a look at the chunk of gold you bought, you see fear. That's why I'm not recommending people to buy gold or Bitcoin out of fear, because it symbolizes your scarcity mentality. So unless you just do out of love, out of trust, whatever you buy to feel secure becomes a symbol of scarcity, ironically. So you have to be very careful what kind of energy you put out to a certain thing. So that's why people have a hard time leaving a boring job, because they think that is a source of security. It's not.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Ken Honda, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, befriend your money.
After doing a lot of research, I realized that there are only 3 relationships with money. Money controls you, or you control money, or a balanced friendship. In other words, you can be a master or slave or friend. And ideal situation is you become friend with money, because your best friend cares about you, and best friend thinks with you, and your best friend works with you. So if your relationship with money becomes that, I think you'll be much, much happier.
Rule number 3, radiate positive energy.
First of all, you have to really know what kind of energy you're emitting, because what you get is what you give. So what you gave in the past is coming back to you. So you have to be aware of what's going on in your life. If you're sending out a lot of love, you receive a lot of love. Highly sensitive people tend to give out a lot of fear. That's why they're attracting a lot of fear. So if you feel comfortable in a society or among friends or in a crowd, and if you feel so much love, I call it love bubble, and then surround yourself with a lot of fun, like pinkish, goldish energy around you. Nothing hurts you. And then, you bump into the best people, when you think best people in town, and then they want your service, and they're so happy to see you because they've been looking for somebody like you for years.
Rule number 4, give and receive unconditionally.
This gets to a valuable concept, which is, and this is actually a really difficult one in the States, and maybe it's throughout the Western world. And I was thinking about this with my parents and my dad's birthday coming up, and how growing up, I love my parents very much, but gifts always came with strings. They were, yes. I like to say the gifts were weaponized. And so here in the West, we have a very hard time accepting, receiving, and I believe that can cut off the flow. What do you think?
Yeah, you said it so right. It's not only the West. I think it's the same in Japan. And usually there is some hidden message in the gift. I give you this, so you become a good boy. I give you this, so you take care of my retirement. So
yes.
It's sometimes not hidden. It's obvious because some parents say that to their kids. I brought you up, so now payback time.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's very obvious. So we're not used to this unconditional giving and unconditional receiving. So a mastery road to happy financial independence is conditional giving and conditional receiving. And in the process of learning that, you feel more depressed and frustrated and so happy and overjoyed, and you experience so many emotions on the way. And then finally, you just bump into this beautiful road, like, wow, this is, is this heaven? That what you give unconditionally will come back immediately. I started the campaign or book giveaway, in the depressing time. I thought, okay, maybe I just can give away my books that are in my storage unit. And so, okay, I decided to give away 1,000 books, cost me about $10,000 or more. But it's okay because, now it's a cleaning up time. And I did that. So the day that I announced doing that, all my past books got reprinted. I got an email from a publisher saying the book royalties that I get are the same amount that it's going to cost. It's going to cost for giveaway. So like, wow, that fast? I haven't even shipped the first book. Then I get the money. So this is how fast it gets.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, feel abundant.
What's the ultimate goal of having a good relationship with money? Is it about earning more, or is it something else?
The key is abundance. If you feel abundant about life, so no matter how much you make, how much you spend, if there's a beautiful flow, and then you don't have to be so uptight about it. You don't have to be so careful about it anymore. So that's sort of like a ideal situation. You don't have to be super wealthy in order to be happy. So I think, realistically, if you just reach a level of financial happiness and certain abundance, you don't have to do so many things. All you have to do is find your gifts, find your true calling, and start living it. And you don't have to be super well known, or you don't have to, sell
millions of products under your name.
Rule number 6, value invisible assets.
I think you're just focusing on too much visible assets. I often talk about invisible assets. That could be your youth, your energy, and also your friends and your ideas and your heart. We just unfortunately we value how much money you have in your bank account or how you own things. But in life, there are so many invisible assets that you can count on. So instead of having so much money in your bank account, if you have 10 good friends who just let you stay for a week or so, you can keep on living. The other day I wrote down how many friends I have, and then I realized I have more than 50 friends who can just feed me for a week. So you just keep visiting your friend every week until the next year comes. So you can live off of your friendship for a year. That's financial independence. So you may think you're broke financially, but you may have other different assets. So start counting what you have. If you have a roof over your head, that's a great luxury.
Rule number 7, create beautiful relationships.
I ask each one of you to write down a best friend's name, people who can let you stay for a week or a month. And if you have more than 10 friends, you're a lucky person. And I wrote down all the, my friend's name, and there are about 70 or more. And I realized if I ask them to let me stay with them for a week, I can go to my friend number 2 and number 3 and number 4, and there are only 52 weeks a year. And after 50 friends, you can come back to your friend number 1 and say, long time no see. Can I stay
here
for a
again?
week? And then you don't need any money, right? So even if you have millions of dollars in your bank, what if somebody sued you? What if government gets it? What if there will be a bank run? Or what if? The real security lies in the relationships and friendships and the people who make sure that you're not gonna fall. They'll catch you. That is the biggest security. So I think creating beautiful relationships that, like you're teaching, is really, really the key to happiness and also financial security.
Rule number 8, be obsessed.
Why are so many good people without the money?
It's because they are not interested. It's because they don't care about money as much as other like so-called bad people, right? Some bad people are obsessed with money energy. So just think about it. If you're just collecting baseball cards, and if you're so into it, you want to make sure you get the collection right. And if other people are not, I like the cars, but I'm not so, I'm not like so picky about those. So I guess, the ones who are very eager to get those cars will get them. So that's all. It's nothing to do with people being good, with a good heart or bad heart. It's just about the volume of energy of attachment to money. So think about it. If it's like collecting pebbles or seashells, whoever wants to collect pebbles in your house, just think about it. If somebody loves collecting pebbles from a riverside and then stuck them in a closet, and then when you open the closet, all the pebbles come out. Like, how stupid is that? But if they're obsessed with pebbles, they must have a lot of pebbles in the closet. That's like money. I'm using a lot of analogy, so I hope you can get it.
Rule number 9, find the right spot.
Our next question is coming from Heather, and she's asking, how can I come over a lifetime crippling feeling that I have a lack of self-worth? My money block is that other people get to have abundant lives, but I'm not worthy of it. I have been fired from jobs a few times, and that makes me feel rejection and truly challenging for me to claim my self-worth.
Yes, now I feel the pain view, and it hurts when you feel like you're unworthy and you're being rejected a few times. But being rejected a few times doesn't mean that you don't have value or you're not worthy. It just simply means that you're not in the right place. I think the most important thing in life is you have to be in the right place to meet the right person and to be able to work at the right place. So I think you're simply in the wrong place. So, for example, I always imagine if John Lennon worked in a accounting office, would he be happy or not? And he'd be probably scolded by his boss, like, don't sing, just do the books. So if you're, even if you have a great talent, if you're in the wrong place, people will ridicule you or scold you or not appreciate you. But if you're in the right spot, people respect you and people worship you and people appreciate you. So being fired several times means that you're being in wrong places. That's all. It doesn't mean anything else.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is think, feel, and act the same way.
I think you have to sort out these three. How you think, how you feel, and how you act has to be the same.
So they need to check in and check to see, am I thinking right? Am I acting right? Am I feeling right? And it's got to be aligned.
Yes, exactly. So most of us feel like, even though we know we have to do this, but, I'm sure all of us, I have experienced the same thing, you have to break up with her or break up with him, or I have to leave the job, but you can't because you're too afraid, So it might take a little while for the fear to go away, or you jump over anyway, So it takes some time and courage, and so I'm not blaming you to do it right away. And it's natural for us to stop. So just I hope you forgive yourself for not being able to just act in 2 seconds. I think most of us, the biggest problem, I think, especially today, is that we are so afraid of money. And so as much as we want money, we are so scared of it. So
why do you say that? I think that hit me as very counterintuitive. Why do you think people are scared of money?
It's because of a money trauma. I call it money wounds that we've had since our childhood. We used to have some, unless your parents are perfect, and unfortunately it's not the case in any culture. So we've been scolded about money. We spent too much, we wasted the money, or we denied karate lesson or soccer lesson or ballet lesson or piano lessons because it's expensive. Some of my friends were taught, you are not worth it. Well, that's a big blow. So we've been denied so many times around money. So that's why, as much as we want money, because we feel money can buy happiness, or money can buy at least freedom. But at the same time, money have been abused us for so many ways. So as much as we want to get close to it, but if we get too close to it, we get burns or hurt. So for a lot of people, money is a mystery person.
So how do they begin to change that relationship? I'm assuming some of this is going to be just narrative around how they talk to themselves about money. What do you advise people on?
You have to start watching your language. My mother used to say that. And then around money especially, a lot of people say I was ripped off. So there are so many negative language around money. And my mentor Wahe said, you have to use positive words around money. Otherwise, money will not like you. And I thought it's very cute, And then in my book, I talk about what if money were a person, who would it be like? Is that person a gentle person or angry person? So just, you have to pay attention to how you relate to money. If you just feel like money is just a thing, like you don't care, but if you don't care, you end up being in debt. So you have to be very careful and respectful for money. And what I found out is that people want to learn about money IQ, which is about financial intelligence. It's about investing, how to buy stocks, and how to trade, and all the other things. But what I found out is that money EQ is more important than money IQ. Money EQ is emotional intelligence about money, how healthy you feel with money. A healthy relationship is that when you feel happy about money, your money EQ is high. When you constantly worry about money and you have fear on money, your money EQ is low. And the highest money IQ people with all the MBAs and all the doctorate degree, they are good at investing and they're super good with business. But these high money IQ people often lose everything because of low money EQ. Even though you built a high tower with money IQ, the foundation is shaky, it's gonna fall. So money EQ is a foundation of life. For example, if you get a $500 raise, which is great, but can you keep the money? Probably you will celebrate your raise and spend it all. And then if you get a $2,000 raise, which is great, probably you're gonna move to a better and bigger house, and then you're gonna probably buy a bigger car and more expenses go up. So even though you get a raise, you make more money, your expenses also are trying to match your income, so you have no money at the end of the month anyway. I have known many CEOs who are making a few $100,000 a year, but still they cannot keep any money left because their lifestyle consumes all the money. So unless you learn about money EQ and have the solid foundation, you'll never be able to feel peace with money, and you'll never be able to achieve true financial independence. I had this opportunity to meet my mentor later on. His name is Wahed Takeda. So when I asked him to teach about money, he said his first lesson is forget about money. So I was so confused.
Yeah, one of the things that I found super confusing, and people, where I was going is the notion of a Zen koan. And this is something that people probably in the US anyway be tangentially familiar with. The most famous one we talk about is what is the sound of one hand clapping? And there are many Zen koans which are like beyond confusing. And of course, the idea is once you understand sort of the absurdity of the question itself, and of course, I'm doing this from a logical perspective, and Zen is, I think, meant to be very different than that. But just to give people an anchor point, once you understand the absurdity of the question, then it's like you're a step closer to enlightenment. So when he said forget about money, what was he trying to get you to? Like, what does that mean? Because obviously it's not truly forget that it exists.
Yes.
So what does he mean?
So I think he meant about where I focus. Because if you want money, you have to forget about money. You have to forget about what you can give to other people, how much service you can give out to the world, and then you receive money. So he was telling me not to focus on money because money is the end result of what we get after serving the world. So instead of focusing on what you get, you have to really focus on what you give. And our life is in the middle of giving and receiving. So unless we receive well, unless we give well, we can receive. So we are in this cycle of appreciation or resentment. Either cycle you're in, your life exists. So if you start appreciating your life about everything, including money, your life will be filled with money and appreciation. If your life will be filled with resentment, anger, and fear around money and also around life, your life will be also surrounded by fear and resentment and anxiety. Treat money with respect, and whenever we receive money, that's a miracle because somebody chose you as a client or a person that to work for. So you can appreciate your boss, your clients, or the company you're working for to making a miracle and just pay you the money. So you can feel, thank you. And then, bless the money in a most beautiful way. I used to serve a cup of tea for my father's clients when I was 9 or 10. I really enjoyed it because I just annoy them with all those professional questions like, what's your ROE, or how are you making profit in your company, sir? And they're like, oh, they feel so intimidated. So I really enjoy giving them very difficult questions. And since then, I've seen some entrepreneurs do well, and some entrepreneurs do not so good. Even if they're the same age, same educational background, their financial outcome is so different. And I realized that certain people have gifts around making money, and others have this blocks and unwillingness to do business. So your attitude toward money is either positive or negative. So positive people tend to attract more money, and whereas negative, if you have a negative attitude around money, you tend to lose it. You have a hard time keeping it because you feel deep inside, if money is bad, you don't want any bad thing in your house. So I always often talk about it as a joke. Just imagine money as a monster or pet in your house. Is that like a Pokemon fun pet in your house? Or it becomes a monster that could eat you up, your parents or your kids? If you think money is scary, you don't want a scary thing in your house. And so if you have a positive attitude around money, you'll be very good at making money. And if you have somewhat negative attitude toward money, you want to keep some distance. That's why some people are very good at attracting money. Other people are like, oh, I'm okay with enough. If as long as I can pay all the bills, I'm fine. Well, as long as I'm on survival mode, but still I can survive, I'm okay. So it's up to you how comfortable you feel around money and business. In my mind, wealth is an emotion. It doesn't really matter how much you have, how much you make. Because I've interviewed over the course of my career, I've interviewed many millionaires and billionaires, and some of them are very unhappy and very upset with everything. I'm sure you've met some happy ones and very unhappy ones. So, and also among the people who are struggling with life, there are also happy people and unhappy people. So I think wealth is an attitude. If you feel like you're so happy and so content with what you have, you are already wealthy. But if you have if you have to struggle every day and you cannot find happiness either in your business or in personal life, I think you're not wealthy, even if you have billions in your bank account. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to have money. And what I find about money is that the questions are universal. If I go to China, Europe, North America, Japan, all the questions are very similar. And most of us have a hard time receiving money because we feel somewhat unworthy of ourselves. So when money was offered to us, even though it's a legitimate work, we render service or do work, but we still feel shy when it comes to receiving money. So in a way, we are super good at giving, but we are lousy at receiving. So receiving is the first rule of money EQ. And if you have a hard time receiving money, think of the other way around. When we try to give something and the other part, your friend or whoever that is, say, no, I can't accept that. You feel kind of funny, like I want you to receive it. Because receiving is the other end of cycle of giving. So unless you receive, somebody cannot give. So you're receiving for the giver too. So if you understand this cycle of appreciation of both receiving and giving, you have to end the cycle of this giving and receiving by being a receiver side. So you may feel a little funny or strange or blocks at the time. You take one more step and just with a smile, thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, I accept that. If you open your heart and accept financial reward or smile or appreciation, whatever that is, if you are willing to open up to new possibility, you complete the cycle. So be willing to do that for the giver, because if you graciously accept the money, they feel great too. They feel the joy of giving. So just imagine this, by receiving beautifully, you give the giver the joy of giving. So just a little practice, and it takes a lot of courage, a lot of openness on your side to do. But once you're open and start receiving, you realize that how much money, friendship, and care and support you haven't been able to receive. And then you feel like, wow, all the things I didn't receive were there. And then you'll be surprised the cycle of receiving and giving will accelerate in your life.
A lot of time we write